Welcome to 301 Banter. Today's guest is one of the most connected and recognizable voices in Minnesota sports media. He got his start working at KFan and then transitioned to covering the Vikings for CBS Sports, spending time at the Star Tribune, to appearing on Fox 9, MLB Network, and St. Paul Saints broadcasts. He has built an incredible career covering sports across the Twin Cities and beyond. Today, he's a sports anchor, reporter, and insider for 5 Eyewitness News, and also hosts over at Score North, where he continues to break news and provide insight on every Minnesota sports every single day. We are going to talk about his journey through sports media, what it takes to build connections in the industry, some of his favorite moments covering Minnesota sports, and so much more. Darren Doogie Wolfson joins 301 Banter right now.
Welcome to 301 Banter, a show having conversations with the finest athletes across Minnesota. We delve into the trials and tribulations of the athletes, coaches, and broadcasters that make the sports world in Minnesota tick. So whether you're a diehard sports fan or just curious to learn about different people, join us for discussions and behind-the-scenes glimpses into Minnesota's vibrant sports community.
If you like videos like this where we talk to Minnesota athletes, coaches, and media members, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Comment who you want to see next on the show as well. Let's get into this video. So we'll start kind of at the beginning here. What made you want to work in sports media in the first place?
That's a fascinating question, Charlie. So I was not very athletic. I was a graduate of Henry Sibley High School, which is now Tourist High School in Mendota Heights. I graduated in the class of 1997. Yes, I am getting very, very old. My athletic career, Charlie, ended 9th grade. I mean, I do regret not playing baseball that year, but couldn't handle it basketball-wise, football-wise, but always had a passion for sports. I would always shoot hoops in my driveway and at the same time listening to KFan radio. So that was when the sports talk radio station here in the Twin Cities, which is now a juggernaut, KFan, was pretty much just launching. And I used to listen all the time, 1994, 1995. I would always be listening to every show on the Fan. I started playing fantasy football 1992, right? Way back when you had to grab the Monday morning paper to go through the box scores, to do the scores for the fantasy football week, right? I always had an obsession with sports. Maybe it's my, late father, thinking about him and his love for Philadelphia sports. I was born in Philadelphia. He was born in Philadelphia. We moved here after 2nd grade. So I moved here summer of 1987. But just his allegiance to the Phillies, to the Eagles, to the Sixers. He wasn't so much a Flyers fan or a hockey fan. I see you wearing your Wild hat there, Charlie. But he wasn't a huge hockey fan, but loved football, really loved baseball, really loved basketball. So maybe it's my late father and just seeing his love, but just always just followed passionately. A buddy of mine, Chad, and I had season tickets. We split it amongst 5 other people, but we had season tickets for the Wolves back in 1994, 1995. We had seats about 15 rows behind the basket. We bought a 10-game pack, right? Just as I was getting my license, my buddy Chad already had his license, right? So we would drive to Target Center and go to 10 games a year. So I went to a lot of games. Heck, I remember skipping out on some classes junior and senior year at Henry Sibley to go to some of those Thursday afternoon games at the Metrodome for the Twins. So April and May, those 12-10 games, those are now 12-40 games, but think about even tomorrow, right? The Twins have a day game against the Astros. Well, way back when, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, I used to just escape. We used to just leave school and, get a tardy, unexcused absence, whatever, but used to always go to games. And so, as you get done with high school, I'm sure you can relate. You're like, okay, what the bleep is next? What the heck am I going to do? So I just, started brainstorming and picked the brain of my mom and dad. And they said, hey, you always listen to KFAN. Like, is there something maybe you could do there? Then, really, what vaulted everything, Charlie, was senior year of high school. Henry Sibley had a mentorship program. The teacher, the year before, had a student work with Dave Dahl, longtime weather guy at Channel 5. So she had a connection to Dave based on the previous year. She reached out to Dave saying, hey, I have a student who's passionate about sports. Dave, can you talk to your sports guy, Joe Schmidt, seeing if he would have an opportunity to mentor a young man at Henry Sibley High School? Went in, met with Joe. We clicked right away. Joe welcomed me multiple nights a week. So I started to get my feet wet at Channel 5 while still in high school, September of 96, October of 96. Throughout that fall, winter, spring, they kept me aboard for a while. In fact, even hired me for a little part-time job. In the midst of that, senior year of high school, and this is a long-winded answer, so you can cut me off wherever you want, Charlie, but long-winded answer here, like, I wasn't taking a bunch of classes senior year. I'd already been accepted to multiple schools, ended up going to the University of Minnesota, but like, I had school service with a nurse. I had study hall. Like, that was half my school day, my senior year. I wasn't taking AP classes. And so my mom said, hey, now that you have your foot in the door at Channel 5, can you somehow see if there's something at KFAN? And so I reached out on a whim to a guy named Eric Webster, who was a production guy at KFAN, did a Saturday show, behind the scenes, but did some on air, did some sports updates, connected with Webby. And I said, hey, can we just connect? Can we talk? And he said, yeah, come on into the office. So I went over to their radio station in Bloomington, sat down with Eric Webster, and he said, hey, happy to take you under my wings. And so I was over at KFAN multiple nights a week or afternoons right after school. I drive over there, hang out, learn how they do things. The Chad and Barrero show, Chad Hartman, Dan Barrero, producer Sam Sigelman. Heck, Dan, the common man Cole, was doing stuff then for them as a sidekick. And so just was picking the brains of so many people. And that made my decision to stay in town for school very easy. Like, I'm like, I already have my foot in the door at KFAN and at Channel 5. Why would I go to, for example, the University of Illinois? Because I was looking at going to Illinois, but I'm like, that doesn't make sense for me to move to Champaign, Illinois and try to reestablish a bunch of relationships when I already have those relationships. So that's a long way of telling you, Charlie, got really lucky, and I was really fortunate to connect with Eric Webster and Joe Schmidt fall/winter of 1996, bleeding into 1997, my senior year in high school, getting to know those guys and then getting my foot in the door, because a lot of this business is who you know, not necessarily what you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's why would you go somewhere else when you can stay here, get, an education at the U and continue to work and gain experience at the same time. Like you can do both. And, yeah. So you mentioned it a little bit too, but you've worked in radio, you've obviously television now, the over at Score North with digital, and you've worked across a bunch of different media platforms and different formats. Which one did you find the most challenging when you first got into it?
Oh, I think it's TV, Charlie. I mean, everything is so tightly scripted. Like, if weather goes 10 seconds heavy, sports at the end of a newscast, like, oftentimes would have to dump a story. Like, and it takes time to put in the graphics, write your script, then edit the video. So for like a 15-second voiceover, that might take 15 to 20 minutes. And so you devote enough time, right? And you're working on deadline and you're trying to be proficient and put out quality work, but you're also dealing with a deadline of the 10 o'clock news, right? And your previous deadline is the 6 o'clock news, right? And so it's a tiny amount of time. And so you're trying to work fast, but you also want quality, right? Yeah, maybe there's something to be said about quantity, but quality matters the most. But there were many times, whether I was producing or eventually on air, where I'm like, are you kidding me? You name the weather person who just went 10 seconds heavy and I need to absorb that? Like, that's my fault? Like I had a hard time. I still to this day, Charlie, have a hard time grasping. Now, producers do a much better job now just building in a lot of pad time at the end of a newscast. So if weather does go 30 seconds heavy, I can't tell you the last time we in sports were actually impacted by that. Now, hey, if there's breaking news, if there's a tornado watch, something crazy, sure. Or there's just breaking news and ABC breaks in, right? I understand that, right? If sports gets blown up for something like that, completely understandable. But just a normal weather day, like if weather goes 20 seconds heavy, it doesn't impact us anymore, thankfully. But I just always had a hard time. Like I like something like this, longer form conversation. And hey, even in radio, like you need to hit certain break times or be in the vicinity of certain break times. That can still be challenging. So like something like this, or I just got done recording a Flagrant Howls episode with the Score North guys, with Judd Zolgad and Phil Mackey and Declan Goff. Like we just went 25 straight minutes. We didn't have to worry about a commercial break. Now, there were a couple commercial reads dropped in, but those were strategic. Like I get done with a point or Judd gets done with a point. Okay, Phil Mackey hops in with a running aces read. Or right at the start of the episode, Declan did a read for the Element Hotel right next to Target Field. So you strategically place those ad reads. So we're still able to monetize what we do, but we can still go really long form. Like we don't need to worry about hitting a commercial break 12 minutes in or 14 minutes in. We can go for 25 minutes and it works out really well. So I love the way things have evolved. I really do. But even to this day, TV, like that's my A job, is Channel 5, right? Do some stuff behind the scenes, some stuff on camera. But either way, whether I'm producing or I'm anchoring, like I'm always cognizant of, oh no, like did weather just go heavy? Like, because we'll hit the commercial break and I'm always thinking, like in my ear, I've got the IFB and, you know, the producer oftentimes will say, hey, like if you can read faster, read faster. And I'm like, boy, do I really want to read faster? Like, as I read faster, I might stumble over something. I only get one shot at this. It's live television, right? And so, you know, I'm always grateful when we're like 2 minutes into that commercial break. It's normally like a 2.5 to 3 minute long commercial break. I'm always grateful when I know the commercial break is close to the end, when the producer hasn't said a word in my ear. Then I know, hey, we're good. I can take a breath. I can take my time with this read and execute everything that we just put 3-4 hours of work into. I don't have to worry about dropping a story. But TV is so tightly scripted. That to me is the ultimate challenge in trying to get enough stories in a finite amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you can, these are recorded, so you can always edit in an ad read somewhere too in post-production. Obviously, maybe you do that during the recording, but you can always edit things in later. But live TV, live radio, it's like they can't really be edited in later. Like you gotta do it live more often. So I can imagine that just timing wise, that's probably the most challenging part of that type of production.
Although I will tell you, Charlie, like I always prefer live because like I've done stand-ups. Like if I'm doing a game wrap after game 6 of the Wolves Spurs series on Friday night. I didn't actually do this on Friday night, but I've done it in the past. So this is an example I've done previously. Or how about I'm in Denver 2 years ago for game 5. Wolves Nuggets game 5. When Denver blew out the Wolves. I thought the series was over, by the way. I thought the series would be over in 6. Then the Wolves blow out the Nuggets, and the Wolves are down 20 in game 7. Epic comeback. Wolves eliminate the Nuggets. But I'm there in Denver covering the game for Channel 5. So it was a later start. Can't remember the exact start time, but it was in 8:45 or 9 o'clock or 9:30 Central Time. So it's well past the 10 o'clock news. But the idea was I'm there, so I did hits during the 5 and 6 o'clock news. But then I would put together a package, a game review that would air on the morning show the next morning. So 5 a.m. the next morning, game ended at midnight. Probably a lot of people watching the next morning's news went to bed. So the idea is, hey, I'll do a report that will air the next morning. So that's taped. So I go out to the court and you do a stand-up in and a stand-up out. Then you voice over what's in the middle. Well, you can get so nitpicky. Like, ooh, could I do a better job pronouncing that word? Or my mannerisms, my delivery. Like, I just prefer live. Like, let me just
Yeah.
do it. And hey, whatever happens, happens. So there's a part of me that says, just give me live. Because when you have a chance to edit, post produce, drop in whatever, I think you start playing, at least I do, Charlie. I start playing mind games and I'm like, God, I could have done a better job with this or that, or I should have made that point or this point. And I'm trying to move past that. Even at 46 years old, I'm trying to move past that and just say, just let's do it live. And whatever happens, happens. And I'll deal with the fallout thereafter.
Absolutely. Um, yeah. So again, like you mentioned too, you've been around Minnesota sports and the Minnesota sports landscape, since you were in high school. Um, what have you seen that's been like the biggest change over those years since that, or you got
Oh, I
into it?
think it's social media, right? I mean, Twitter came around 2009, 2010, maybe it was around 2008, but seemed to really take off. I feel like it was connected to when I came back to Channel 5, January of 2010. Maybe it was soon thereafter. I mean, you start getting old, Charlie, and years start to blend together. But I feel like Twitter took off 2010 ish, 2009 ish, somewhere in that ballpark. And now to think where not only Twitter slash X is, but TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Short, YouTube as a whole, Facebook Live, just seeing where social media has gone. And rightfully so, the heavy emphasis on social media. I almost forgot late Friday. Just so much was happening. The Wolves season ends. I'm covering Wolves Spurs on Friday night. And like it didn't dawn on me. Like Julius Randle was supposed to go to the podium. I see a Wolves media representative trying to run him down in the parking garage, trying to gather a lot of thoughts. Had a nice conversation with Mike Conley Jr. and just trying to process how things just came to a screeching halt, right? Like think about Wolves win game 4 against the Spurs, play really well. Anthony Edwards is unbelievable. Then they get blown out in game 5, blown out in game 6, season over. Like I'm trying to process in real time Friday night a lot of stuff. I nearly forgot as I'm walking out, I had to go run out to the court to do a 1 minute long, or roughly 1 minute, social media video. So I hold up the iPhone, right, and just record it myself for Instagram Reel. So I had to send that in to the Channel 5 newsroom, and somebody early Saturday was able to post it. I don't have the posting privileges, but I sent it in to the right people. They then posted it, right? And that's an edict from our bosses. Like, you're on scene, whatever you're on scene for, record a roughly 1 minute long social media video. Make sure at the beginning you clearly identify who you are, why you're there, then say whatever you need to say, right? So, like, the one I did was reviewing some of the things Chris Finch said post game, right? Because to me, anybody clicking on it probably watched the game, so it's not like I need to rehash exactly what happened in the game. Yeah, I'll emphasize for a sentence how great the backcourt was. I guess the threesome of Darren Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. Yes, but to me, like, what can I provide that the people at home maybe don't have access to, right? And that was listening to Chris Finch's post-game news conference, rehashing some of the things he said about the game / the end of the season. And so I nearly forgot to do it though, right? And so like that's a new phenomenon, and it's not that new, right? But like in my world, we have a new news director as of 13, 14 months ago. He started in March of last year. And so there's even more of an emphasis on social media with our new leadership. And so I'm still just wrapping my arms around that, Charlie, even though I'm active on social media, just figuring out exactly what I need to do and not forgetting what I need to do. But like social media, I mean, that's changed the landscape in so many ways, for the positive and for the negative.
Yeah, I think that's the changing for the positive and negative. That's not just sports media. That's just social media in general, too.
You're right. Yes.
And
yeah, I mean, you
think
think about the political climate and just the country as a whole.
absolutely.
You're right. Yeah, it far goes
Yeah.
beyond sports. I see it in the sports world, right? That's my livelihood, professional livelihood. But yes, I'm well aware of a lot of the other stuff. I promise.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Again, we don't love to get into the details of politics on this show because we know half
Fair.
the audience
Yes.
thinks one thing, half the audience thinks the other. So
Amen.
we want to
Good.
talk about sports here.
Yes.
So and to going back to that the vibe after game 4 of this Spurs series versus after game 5 of the Denver series a couple years ago. If you had told, I think people were feeling the exact opposite of the results. Like people were feeling really good after game 4 against the Spurs and then they lost. People were feeling bad after game 5 against the Nuggets and they won. So maybe we need to just flip flop our feeling and then the Wolves will do that. The other result of how Minnesota sports fans are feeling.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, what's interesting though, Charlie, you think about 2 years ago, they had never, well, they won the first round series, but there were still question marks about how far the roster could go, right? And don't forget, Denver was coming off winning the championship the year prior. And so, like, there was so much unknown. Now we fast forward a couple years. Think about it. The Wolves have been around 37 years. Until this recent stretch, the last 3 years, they had never won playoff series in consecutive years.
Yeah.
Right? So 2 years ago was the start of this run. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess you're balancing both. Yeah, they lost that game 5 against Denver in 2024, then blew them out here in game 6. And then the game 7 was when they were down by 20, came back and won to advance to the Western Conference Finals against Dallas. Remember, they had home court advantage, right? And
Yeah.
and just they couldn't find a way, right? And unfortunately were blown out in that final game of the Dallas series, that game 5. Now, that was in Dallas, wasn't it? Now I'm playing with my mind, Charlie. But they lost in 5 games to the Dallas Mavericks in 2024, and they were blown out in game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. But yeah, I guess you fast forward now to this year, I guess just expectations get raised. Right now, hey, like we all knew at the beginning of the series, no Dante DiVincenzo and how large DiVincenzo could have been with his outside shooting against the Spurs. But yeah, the way Anthony Edwards, and we all knew, I mean, we tried to convey it the best we could that Ant wasn't anywhere near 100%. Like Ant's competitive spirit is off the charts. Like what he battled through to come back in game 1. Like I don't know how to quantify if his knees were 70%, 65%, 75%, but definitely not 100%. So like what he gutted through in that Spurs series, super impressive. But just watching him play in the fourth quarter of that game 4, that was what, a couple Sundays ago. Like I didn't foresee the series finishing the way it did. The Wolves blown out in game 5 1 week ago today, last Tuesday, then losing in blowout fashion last Friday in game 6. So yeah, I guess it depends on expectations and the freshness of things. But yeah, certainly coming off that game 4 performance against the Spurs, the way the Wolves played in that fourth quarter, you know, Ant in particular, like, yeah, that's the beauty of sports though, right, Charlie? Like, it's the unexpected. Like we can try to project, and certainly I do all the time. And hey, I'm wrong plenty. I'll admit, I thought we were going to get to a game 7 Wolves Spurs. So I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I thought 7 games before the series, so I wasn't going to waver on that after it was 2-2 and the Wolves play the way they did in game 4. Like I thought, okay, the two teams will split games 5 and 6. Then we'll get to a game 7 on Sunday night in San Antonio. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Right? Like I think this Spurs Thunder series is going to go 7, even after last night. Now the Spurs may end up winning the series in 5 or 6. Who knows, right? Like that's the beauty, though, right? It's the unexpected. You have the Wild head on. I was at games 3 and 4 against the Avalanche. Think about how the Wild dominated game 3. Did anybody in a million years see the way game 4 went? Like I was at Bill Guerin and John Hines' season wrap-up news conference yesterday. Billy said it's game 4, not game 5, that bothers him more. Like even all these days later, it's game 4 that bugs Darren the most. And hey, Colorado, President's Trophy winner, best team in the league. Colorado's really freaking good, right? So Colorado had a lot to do with that. But Billy was just so bothered because he goes, when we play the way we're capable of playing, look at game 3. We dominated game 3. Then guess what? Game 4, Colorado dominated. Like it was a complete 180, right? And then we all know what happened in game 5 last Wednesday. But Darren was just still bugged, all those days later with that game 4 performance. It's just the complete unexpected of sports. That's the beauty. That's why I love covering sports, because you really just don't know what's going to happen on a daily basis.
Right. Right. And you mentioned the Wolves just having expectations for maybe the first time in franchise history with how bad that they have been. Obviously, except for and like you mentioned too, this is the first time they've won series in back-to-back years. This stretch here, it's like this is only the second time they've won playoff series. Period. And like there's only one other run where they won even a playoff series, and that was the Kevin Garnett run.
Yeah, 03-04. Yeah, remember they missed the playoffs 04-05. Did they make a coaching change soon thereafter? I mean, now you're really racking my brain, but they go to the Western Conference Finals, and heck, to this day, like I run into Gary Trent Sr. often. I run into Troy Hudson. Like just they both have kids, my kid's age, and so just on the local basketball circuit, I see those guys playing. Like to a man to this day, especially Gary Trent Sr., he firmly believes the Wolves were going to win the championship during that 03-04 season if Sam Cassell didn't get hurt. And so that's how good the Wolves were for one season. But the season before, they lost in the first round of the playoffs. The season after, they missed the playoffs. So yeah, it was the one season run with Latrell Sprewell, Sam Cassell, Kevin Garnett, others, but that 03-04 season. But yeah, otherwise, it's now. So it's like, I'm wrestling. I'll be frank, Charlie. I'm wrestling with how do you view the Wolves right now? Like there's disappointment because you get blown out in 3 games against the Spurs, but then there's this realization, like we've never seen sustained success like we're seeing right now. Like it's 5 straight years they've been to the playoffs. It's 3 straight years they've won a playoff series. And if you go back 2 years ago and last year, they won multiple playoff series. Like that should be celebrated. Like we should embrace how great this run is with the Wolves, but maybe it's just the mentality of the Minnesota sports fan, and I get it, right? I completely get it, but it's like you look at the Spurs and Thunder and you're like, okay, this is great, but how the heck are the Wolves going to overcome not one, but those 2 teams for the next few years? Sure, the Wolves want to move to the Eastern Conference. Hey, so does Memphis, so does New Orleans. Expansion is still a few years away. So whoever is moving to the East, it's still like 3 years away, if not 4 years away. So for like the next 2 to 3 years, how exactly are you overcoming the Thunder and the Spurs? So I understand it, but there is a big part of me that says, let's just celebrate this. Like you have an all-NBA player. That's really cool. Maybe when it's all said and done, Anthony Edwards will be the best player in franchise history. I still think to this day it's Kevin Garnett. I can't tell you right now, Charlie, it's Anthony Edwards. But in 5 years, if Ant is still here, I think we can make a case in 5 years that Ant will be the best player in franchise history. So I'm just saying, like, it's hard to balance, right? Like, yes, disappointment, but also a realization there is a lot to celebrate.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think that this is a hot take, but I think if you mentioned the 5-year window for Ant to be the best player. I think if he wins a championship before that here in Minnesota, I think he becomes the best player in franchise. Like I think delivering a championship to a team that's been this historically bad automatically puts him ahead of KG. KG's still the second best player in franchise history at that point. But I think just again, it was obviously the Frost and the Lynx have had success, but like the men's teams, it's been since 91. So if you like, I personally think you are going to be an absolute legend in this state of Minnesota if you are the superstar on the team that wins the first men's championship since 1991. And
oh yeah, amen. Yeah, and I mean, thinking about the Wild, right? I mean, the same can be said of, whether it's Quinn Hughes, Kirill Kaprizov, or Matt Boldy. Whoever leads them the most, maybe if it happens, right, that postseason run, because we can debate like who is the superstar. They have multiple superstars, so you know who will be their best player in the playoffs if that happens, if they make a magical run. Yes, right, and same thing applies to the Wild, by the way, right? Like they hadn't won a playoff series in 11 years. We have to go back to 2015. Right. So there's a lot to celebrate. But then when you think about the way they lost games 1 and 2, then the way 5 ended, right? It's like, and 4, obviously, right? It's like, how do you balance it? Like the Wild actually, they lost more playoff games than they won. They
Yeah.
won 5 playoff games. They lost 6 playoff games. But
Yeah.
to me, when you win a series for the first time in 11 years, you feel really good about the future. But the same question exists. It's just not 2 teams, it's 1. I suppose you feel good about being able to beat Dallas moving forward. But what about Colorado? Like, will Colorado slow down the next couple years? And so that's the wrestling match internally. Like, celebrate the Wild, but then trying to figure out, okay, how do you overcome the Avalanche?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have just a few more minutes here before I actually have a hard out at 11:45 here. But what advice do you have for, so this will be the last question. So what advice do you have for young broadcasters, reporters, people trying to break into the sports media industry? And I'm asking this question selfishly too, because I am trying to get into this industry as well.
I would say, Charlie, keep doing what you're doing, right? So, like, right now, I would say quantity over quality. Like, go out and do work, right? If you have a passion for play by play, grab a recorder, make sure you have the rosters, go sit up in the top row of a high school game or, wherever
Yeah.
and do the play by play. Like, you need reps. And to me, it's easy to get those reps. You just have to be open minded to any number of possibilities, but go get reps. If your goal, Charlie, is to be a talk show host, podcast host, whatever that is, keep doing these conversations, keep leading the way on that. I will also say, be a good listener. Like, I think listening, and hey, I'm still guilty to this day, Charlie, but being a good listener matters. Always remember people's names. I was on a shoot yesterday. We're doing a bunch of stuff with the Special Olympics. The Special Olympics are coming here to the Twin Cities in mid-June. And so we at Channel 5 are featuring a number of Special Olympics athletes. So I was with a bocce ball player and his dad on Monday. Just remembering who you're talking to. And his roommate was there. The roommate's dad was there. So 4 people. Eye contact. Remembering people's names. That to me resonates big time. Then network the best you can. Send out conversations like this to any number of people. Elicit feedback. Take that feedback. Listen to that feedback. But more than anything, just get out there. Quantity over quality. And depending on which path you're going, Charlie, be able to do a lot. Like if your goal is to be a TV sports reporter, at this point, you better be able to edit video, shoot video, write scripts, right? And there's different writing style for broadcast versus web copy / print copy. So knowing how to write broadcast style, but also knowing how to write print / web copy, knowing how to make graphics, all that stuff. Like I do all that. Now, shooting video, I end up shooting a lot on my iPhone 17. I mean, that's the way technology is now. So I shoot video on my phone. So I don't have a big camera. I don't know how to work one of those big cameras, but I can shoot video on my phone. I mean, that's just the way technology is now, right? But editing, we edit on Premiere Pro. Like just being able to do a lot behind the scenes. Because more often than not, most people want to be in front of the microphone, in front of the camera, which, yes, go chase that dream, please, and go achieve that dream. It's absolutely achievable, so go achieve it. But just also be cognizant that you need to be able to do a lot of different stuff, be super helpful, super versatile. And that, to me, is how you sell yourself to a media entity. Hey, I can do this, and this for you. And so just making sure that those people know, those people who are doing the hiring, that you can help in many different ways. That would be the biggest piece of advice to me. Just be versatile, but also just in the moment, right now, short term, just keep doing a lot of these. Whatever your ultimate goal is, Charlie, like this is the first time we're connecting face to face, and happy to stay in touch, but just keep doing what you're doing. And I would say quantity over quality right now. Like you probably need as many reps as possible. We'll worry about the quality a bit later. Keep producing content at a high rate.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like it's the versatility, at least it's a foot in the door somewhere, and then you can, it can go from there too.
I mean, I'm thinking like Score Northwise, like AJ Fredrickson does a great job on the Wild Show with Judd Zulgad. AJ's first job was running the board right at 1500 a.m., right? Just get your foot in the door, then see where it goes. Jamie Erdahl, who does a phenomenal job on NFL Network, right? And she does CBS sideline reporting. I remember when she was at Breck High School shadowing Chad Hartman and I at KFAN, right? Like she discovered at an early age, this is what I want to do. Then she chased it, went out east for school and ended up in Boston. And she's phenomenal, right? And just she got in with the right people and really worked on her skills, found the right mentors, and she's run with it, right? So just figuring out exactly what you want to do, pinpoint that, then network like crazy, and just be as versatile as you can, right? And there's all sorts of videos on YouTube, online, right? Like if you're like, yeah, I have some interest in TV, but I've never picked up a camera. It's not that hard to learn how to shoot video. Yeah, high quality video, okay, we'll work on that. But if there's a desire, if there's a want, like put the work in, I think it'll turn out pretty darn good for you and for anybody who's consuming this conversation.
Yeah, that's goes back to the maybe the positives of social media too. Is
yes, I mean that's another way to network, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean you can reach that many more people. So yeah, there are plenty of positives.
Yeah.
When it comes to social media, that would be one. Like you can get in touch with people that maybe ordinarily you wouldn't be able to get in touch with.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, and hopefully we'll be in touch soon. Hopefully one of these teams can actually win something in in the playoffs.
I don't think it'll be the Twins this year.
No, I think
it'll be the Vikings, although I think it's a favorable schedule.
I think they got a better chance than the Twins do this year. I think
the Vikings have a better chance than the Twins. I would agree.
If you were to make me pick, I think the Vikings winning in February is more likely than the Twins winning at the end of October, early November.
I would agree. I just saw, by the way, you probably know this, but ESPN has the Super Bowl in February, which will also be simulcast on ABC. So when thinking about my job, I would love to see the Vikings playing in the Super Bowl. Is it in Vegas, by the way? Is it Vegas next February?
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Wherever it is. It doesn't matter. It's somewhere nice.
I just know the draft is coming to Minneapolis in 2028. So
yeah, 2028. Absolutely. But I think it might be. It doesn't matter where it is. I'm just thinking like, okay, if the Super Bowl is on our air, imagine how fun that week or those 2 weeks would be between the conference championship game and the Super Bowl, like all the content we'd be able to produce. Now, it would be time consuming. It would be stressful. There would be long days, but I would so much embrace the opportunity to cover the Vikings in a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for taking the time. And
you got it, Charlie. Stay in touch.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll
Keep me
be
posted
in touch
on your
soon.
happenings. Yeah, absolutely.
Massive thank you to Doogie for sitting down and talking with us today. We wish him the best of luck going forward. Thank you for watching this video as well. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed the conversation. Comment who you want to see next on the show. Subscribe to the channel for more interviews like this and other Minnesota sports content. We'll see you next time. Peace.